Hey there YouTube, this is Joseph, and today I'm going to be reviewing the MacBook Pro 15-inch, the newest one on the line, with the new AMD Radeon R9 graphics processor. So, let's get right into it. First thing, this computer is running the beta software of OS X El Capitan, and I put this on for accuracy in a sense because when you really think about it, most of these computer models are going to be shipped with this software. So a more accurate representation of the capabilities of this computer are going to be shown with this software on it. Now, this is the third beta of this software that I'm on, so it's going to be a little more accurate than the earlier betas 1 or 2, has some bugs fixed, and I really haven't noticed much of any issues at all with this software. So, to prove to you that I am on the software, there is my About This Mac program open. You can see this is the mid-2015 MacBook Pro, and it is the one with the dedicated graphics card. So, the first thing I'd like to do is to point out that this computer is almost identical to the last computer, with it having the same thickness, the same screen resolution, the same processor. It does have a better SSD, supposedly twice as fast. I haven't found that, but I found it's reasonably faster. And it has a better battery life to an extent. Apple claims that they've changed the way that their battery chemistry works slightly, and it's supposed to improve the battery percentage, but if I go here on my battery health, I've only used this for a month and it's at 99%, but just to give you an idea, this does change, and I had this at 101% a few days ago, so it does rise and fall depending on the charge cycle that you're in. This MacBook Pro has the same stunning Retina display that the last generation had. It also has the same external ports, varying from USB 3.0, an SD card slot, HDMI, to Thunderbolt 2 ports, a headphone jack, and a MagSafe charger. This computer is also equipped with dual speakers and the new Force Touch trackpad. It is a phenomenal computer and runs much faster than the last generation, especially where graphics are concerned. Now, when I said I noticed a major performance in the graphics of this computer, I was not speaking about the raw performance of the graphics where, graphical output is concerned. I was speaking of the amount of electricity drawn and heat output, because on my last MacBook Pro, the one with the GT750M with the 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, it was ridiculously hot, and I could not use that computer with those graphics on for more than an hour and a half on a full charge, which I found absolutely ridiculous. It drew much too much electricity, and it was much too hot, especially considering that MacBook Pros are made of aluminum, and aluminum is an excellent conductor of heat. So I was actually burned one time when I was touching the area above the function keys on my keyboard just to see how hot it was. It was much hotter than I expected, and it burned my finger. And I'm not sure if that was 100% usual with these computers. What I do know is I sent it to Apple, and they said that it was running at the right temperatures when I sent it for diagnostics, so I can only assume that the Apple employees are credible in their knowledge, and that is just how they ran and what the temperature range was. Which is ridiculous, because I don't understand why Apple would put out a dangerously hot computer and say, oh, it's okay, that's how hot they usually get. But this is not really a rant, this is an overview. So this computer has fixed all of those issues from the last generation. I have noticed on graphic intensive games that it does get a little warm, but that's with any computer. It gets slightly warmer. This computer usually runs very cool, and I don't even need to install the max fan control. Even though I have them installed, it's set to a sensor-based activation, and it barely ever goes on. So this computer doesn't get that hot. Another thing I've noticed is that the SSD in it is a much higher performance SSD. Computer takes about the same time to turn on, but general performance I've noticed is probably a third, a half faster. Trying to say it's 2 times better performance. I have not found that it is, but I have noticed that it's much better. And one thing I also noticed is I test out the 13-inch model with the 256 gigabyte one, and those were much lower performance than the higher capacity ones. And I think Apple has kind of bridged the gap with that, and both of the SSDs now run at about the same performance rate, regardless of the capacity, which is a good thing by them. But this computer has the same Retina screen that runs great, and it has the new Force Touch trackpad, which doesn't actually click. There's actually a taptic feedback engine under the trackpad that will vibrate when you depress the clicker here, the mouse, and it feels like a click, doesn't look like a click, and it doesn't click. It just feels like one. There's also force touch, where if you push down hard enough, you'll feel a second, more pronounced click, and you can add functionality to that. And one of the main things that Apple's introduced just now, I think it's just kind of like a starter for the force touch trackpad, is that you can change the speed of fast forward and rewinding on the QuickTime application. It's pretty cool, but I would like to see some more functionality with that in the future, because as of right now, that's not really enough to say, oh, I should get the MacBook Pro instead of, I don't know, the Surface Pro 3, because I can fast forward at different variables depending on how fast I click. That's not going to really be a major influence in what I choose to buy, or what you may choose to buy. But the dual speakers sound great. They're the same speakers as last time, and they are not that bassy, but they get pretty loud. I do tend to use an external speaker that I have more than the built-in speakers, just because it gets a lot louder, but mind you, it's a decent quality external speaker. Something like a iHome, one of those little ones that you can undo, would be much less quiet than this computer, to give you an idea of how loud it is. But it runs much faster. The screen is exactly the same. It runs at a much lower temperature. The trackpad technology is improved. Even though there's not much functionality equipped to it yet, it's a very, very cool technology, and I'm sure in the future there's going to be a lot of improvements in the way that it interacts with the operating system. And this computer runs very well on El Capitan, and I don't really have much more to say about it. It's a computer that runs cool, it looks great, feels great, and the sound system is good, not great, but it's good for a computer, and the battery capacity is improved. So I'd just like to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. By doing so, you've helped support my channel and helped it grow, which I appreciate a lot. If you really enjoyed this video, or you think you can help someone else, share it to your Facebook or Twitter or any other social media where someone else can see it. And don't forget to give this video the thumbs up if it helped you in your decision whether or not to buy this MacBook Pro. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Peace.